had started one in New Jersey, and then when I came to California in 1980, we felt we ought to have an organization similar to the one in New York, which was the first one to start. So we started one in Los Angeles. And then I got together with men from 6 chapters, and we met in Washington, D.C. and said, we ought to have a national. And that's how it started.
What I'm most proud of is the commitment that was in the eyes and the dedication that was in the heart of the men who began this organization in 1963, who began the 100 Black Men of America to bring our collective organizations together 25 years ago, exist today. And we recognize there's a lot of work to be done, and we're prepared and we're motivated to get it done.
It's really about showing each individual person how they can have an impact.
Dr. Hayling is our leader. He has built this organization with a coalition of willing men, starting in New York, continuing to New Jersey, and into Los Angeles. It's an absolute honor to have him be one of our members of 100 Black Men of Los Angeles.
Well, at the time, it was to gather again many men who had the same philosophy and the same feelings about improving conditions in the community. And so I think the men more or less bonded together. And the men came in, it seems like it was a bonding right away, that they felt they had something to do to give back. Because most of these men were successful. Although we didn't eliminate, or we weren't a group that was an elitist group, we brought in men from the business world, teachers, education, entrepreneurs, lawyers, doctors, and we even had a sky cap. So we had a broad range of individuals who wanted to give back and to help. And it seems like it just caught on like a bonfire. It got bigger and bigger, and each year we grew and grew, and the membership grew. And then men would ask other men, how can I join? I'd like to join and be a part of this 100 Black Men.
The inception of the 100 in New York was situationally driven. You know, there was a problem in the community, and these African American men stepped up to the plate. And from stepping up to the plate, this was born. You know, and it also makes you think about the potential of when people step up and they get that spark, what can really happen.
Dr. William Haling is a giant of a man. He's a guy that had already proven his commitment by moving out to start other chapters. Our second and third chapters were his.
I thought it was needed. There were so many risks in the community, in the inner city. And I was at Martin Luther King Hospital's chief of obstetrics there, and I saw many teenage pregnancies and the drug addiction and the lack of education and the lack of role models. So I thought it was very important for us to start a chapter of men who wanted to give something back to the community. And so we got a few men together, first meeting or two, maybe half a dozen of us, and we met at each other's homes, and then gradually it grew. So before you knew it, we had a viable chapter going, and we called it the 100 Black Men of Los Angeles.
Dr. Hayling was the glue that brought all of us together. I grew up in the projects, and I had just as good a chance of going to prison as I did going to college. And I just happened to have enough people around me that were supportive.
Nate was one of those get the job done. Organization didn't have money, Nate wrote the check.
Well, when I started out, as I said, we started out with 6 chapters, and I think when I finished up, there were about 14. And then when Nate Goldston took over, we went up to about 40-something.
It felt like, I'm sure Martin Luther King felt like, it felt like a movement. the growth was not something that you had to work at, because I think as we moved around the country and as people saw what we were doing, it's like a fire. We ignited the fire, but the fire began to grow larger and larger.
Nate Goldston has also been a mentor. Nate, I remember pulling me aside. I'd have all these ideas about our bylaws. He said, let me explain to you where we are. I want you to help me get us in that space that we're seeking to go.
I don't care whether it's black, white, blue, green, or other people begin to feel that maybe there's something that they can do too. And I think if we begin to get that, and I could care less what color it is, but basically if we get that and we spread that, we're gonna change this world in a lot of ways.
I was inspired, so that's why I put a lot of my time in supporting Nate and bringing the organizational skills that I had to help make sure the conventions were run right, to make sure we had the resources to pay for it, because I didn't want to see Nate keep writing his own personal checks. He, again, was a man, the right time in the right place for this organization. Nate got elected as the national president, but he wasn't even at the meeting.